Walking around the expo floor about what AMD is and how it has evolved. You've been there for 10 years, and they were telling me about you, actually.
Oh, no. What did they say?
Well,
Ryan, come on.
It sparked something that you told me a while ago, that when you started, you run to problems. 10 years ago when you took helm as a CEO. When I say to run to problems, what does that stand out with you right now in your philosophy?
Well, first of all, I have to say, I am absolutely thrilled to be here this afternoon at South by Southwest. It's an incredible honor. And I've been super lucky throughout my career. You know, I'm an engineer by training, so semiconductor device physics, if you really want to know. And I've been in the industry for 30 plus years. And, you know, when I used to tell people that I was in semiconductors, they would be like, what? Like, what's that? And I would say chips, and they're like, chips? You mean like potato chips? And I'm like...
I know that's what you were thinking,
no,
so don't even start.
No, no, no. I mean semiconductor chips, okay? You need semiconductors to power everything that you do, whether you're talking about the largest supercomputers, or you're talking about, you know, PCs, or your car, or, you know, what you have in your house. All of that is powered by semiconductors. And what is so cool today is everybody knows what semiconductors are. I think we've all realized that semiconductors are essential, and that allows me to be here to talk to this great audience at South by Southwest. And yeah, I believe in running towards problems, because the idea is, you know, we're all working night and day on things. You might as well work night and day on something that's really important. And that's what I'm so fortunate to do, is work on things that, you know, help, you know, shape the world and make the world a better place. So that is right. You know, I venture to say everybody in this audience goes through an AMD chip a few times a day. And, you know, if you think about it, if you're using Microsoft Teams or Office, or you're on Zoom, or you're on any of the Google services, you're probably running through AMD somewhere in your infrastructure. If you're a gamer, how many of you are gamers in the audience? Some gamers, yeah?
Wait.
Come on, there are more of you.
Where's the gamers? You know what? They're still sleeping from last night.
Okay, all right. So if you're gamers, you know, Microsoft Xbox, Sony PlayStation 5, Steam Deck.
Well, in that though, your portfolio has changed, right? And that's the to me that's interesting, because we were talking about the chips, right? You mentioned a couple of those names.
That's right. That's right. We have just lots of stuff. We're in Tesla, so if you're a Tesla fan or a Subaru fan, you see AMD everywhere in the ecosystem, and that's what we want. We want to make your experiences better, and that's what we do.
I mean, real quickly, you should talk about your background. You graduated from MIT. She's one of the few that I know, anyone I know, you knew you loved semiconductors from the very, very beginning in college. Am I wrong?
Yes, that's true. That's true. I was a nerd at heart.
Don't say that.
Yes,
Don't say that.
I was. So I went to MIT for my undergrad, and you know, what do you need to do when you're in college? You need to find a job. And so my very first job was freshman year. It was I would say it was a grunt job for a graduate student in a semiconductor lab. But I got to make these really tiny little chips that were, you know, the size of a dime or a quarter, and I was just amazed at everything that you could do with them. So yeah, so I was in semiconductors when it wasn't sexy, and I would say, I don't know that it's sexy now, but it's sexier.
Have done a lot of stuff in Hollywood, right? We're talking about Avatar 2, a couple other movies.
Look, I mean, it's so great to be working with the best in the industry, and that's what we enjoy. So when you think about Hollywood, when you think about making, these really feature films, when you think of all the special effects that are required, what they require is a tremendous amount of compute. And we were very proud to be, sort of really associated with some of these studios. And the idea was, how do we give as much compute as possible so that the creators can really accelerate, their rendering, accelerate all the production that needs to be done. And, some of the things that we've done are like, it used to be that, the processors, if you wanted to know the processors that were in these machines that were used in creative studios, maybe had like, 8 to 10 cores or something like that. That's as technical as I'm going to get. And we said, look, we're going to change the game. And we put tremendous amount of computing power in there, so you could really take what used to take days to render could now be rendered in hours, and that just changes the way you can make movies. So, we're super honored to be associated with some of the best. Pixar, Elemental was built on AMD hardware. What FX, just amazing capabilities. If you think about Avatar 2, that was on AMD. So we've had just a
We just saw Planet of the Apes pop up.
Yes.
Fresh off of some exciting news from last night. We won an Oscar for an animated short called War is Over, songs inspired by John Lennon and Yoko Lennon, and we did it entirely on AMD using real-time technologies to animate something that has never been done before.
David, you wanted to be here when I talked to you last week.
Yes, absolutely.
And you thought I was much cooler than Elton John and those folks, right?
Absolutely.
He's not here for you. He's here for me, man.
There we go.
Yeah. Lisa made him come in. He's like, you got to be here. We got to be here. No.
2019, and we started talking about the intersection of media, entertainment, technology, and what it means to create art and what it means to create movies. And there is an intrinsic link, as Lisa stated in her opening statement, between compute power, technology, and art today. And so we wanted to really leverage the work that AMD is doing to help us create images that are more fantastic than we could have thought that we could do 30 years ago. 30 years ago, Peter Jackson started a company, 1 computer, 8 people, and did some work on a movie called Heavenly Creatures. Now we have over 1,800 people and hundreds and thousands of cores and computers and machines all over the world creating movies like Avatar 2, and you saw some sneak peek footage there of Kingdom of the Apes.
I had to ask. I told you we were going to give you something. Lisa wanted to come with something that we wanted to share, and so we were able to do this, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, so the thing that I want everybody to understand is that these images are possible because there's a partnership with a company like AMD that gives us the leverage and the insights, and they work with our teams and we work with their teams to help optimize, because a lot of this wouldn't be possible. We would still be rendering Avatar today if it wasn't for a lot of the partners here. I know some of you know what I mean.
I heard it because I heard the chuckle come. Oh, I see the head nod. I see you.
So anyway, thank you very much, audience. This is so great to be here.
We love the partnership, David. I can't thank you enough. I think the key in our partnership is sort of the two-way feedback that we have, and so we really appreciate you. David, tell us a little bit about what's next. I mean, you're using every piece of compute we give you, which we love, but a little bit about AI, and how do you think AI is going to change what you do?
So, first of all, we use every bit of AMD. I mean, every bit. As soon as it comes off the assembly line, we're at the door knocking, can we use it? Secondly, I do want to talk about AI, and I'll talk a little bit about the future, but I want to acknowledge one thing. The use of AI in the entertainment industry is still a sensitive subject. I think a lot of people misunderstand it and don't really truly understand where AI can help us as a community. But I also want to make sure that artists understand that AI is a tool and that this is not about replacing artists. Where I see things and where I'm hoping to go is that we, as an industry, have moved from GPU to CPUs, and there's an intrinsic relationship between the types of technology that AMD is working on. I'm believing that the future of filmmaking is a partnership between passive entertainment and active entertainment, and this is where we're going to start seeing the intersection of games. I know I heard a loud roar from all of you gamers out here. I want to hear another one, because gaming, visual effects, and movie making is all the same. And I want to jump from video games to movies. I want to go from active entertainment to passive entertainment. And I want to go into real-time entertainment. And that is where films are going to be in 3 to 5 years. And we're not going to be able to do that without the help of companies like AMD, where we get real-time processing and real-time rendering. And a lot of AI is going to help us get to that place. So part of what we need to do is, there's obviously a lot of pressure to create content and create content in shorter deadlines. So part of the business of a duress deadline delivery industry like ours is that we want to maximize the amount of time artists spend at their stations dreaming up fantastic things that none of us can. Because I always look for the young kids, the older people, everybody to come together and create something fantastical. I don't want them to hit a button that says render and wait for 4 hours or 4 days, or in some cases 4 weeks. That doesn't help any of us, because you as artists, you feed off the creative energies, and this is...
Well, I appreciate you. I actually tried to get the Oscar so we can take a picture, but they told me I couldn't do that.
Can't have that.
I tried. But appreciate you coming on, David. Really appreciate
my goodness.
you, man. Thanks for coming and flying in for us. I think about the things that you are working on. You've got a partnership with Adobe. I remember talking to Shantanu, and they were so excited because it is all about that. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, our goal in life is to get the best compute out there, whether you're a Hollywood producer, or you're a content creator, or even if you're just like an amateur, you like playing around with videos. We give you the most compute in the lowest power. We love to work with Adobe, frankly, because they're always pushing the envelope. And the idea is, again, for us, when we optimize hardware and software together, we get a better product, and you're able to get, sort of what you want to render out, much faster. Now, generative AI is the thing. I mean, I know we're going to talk a bit more about AI, but when you think about what generative AI can bring to the whole content creation process, this is the opportunity that we have to take computing to the next level. And as David said, this isn't about replacing, creators. This is really about making creators much more productive, so that you're able to do in far less time, much, much higher quality capability. And that's what we do with our hardware and as well as our software partnerships.
Well, let's stay there for a second, because now I want to be here for, we're here at the heart of AI. What do you think the evolution of hardware and software, right, there's going to be a need to go a lot further, right? And where are we at today, for those that understand it, and where we're going to go in the future?
Yeah, so I think the key with bringing AI, and really now let's think about AI over the next 10 years, is that you need different types of hardware engines. So we'll talk about CPUs and GPUs, and you might even hear the term NPUs. The idea of all of these are trying to get more compute in as small a footprint as possible, so it's cheaper, faster, better, so that you can get more done.
So when you think, if I said AI and you had a crystal ball, Lisa's crystal ball, I think I like that tagline. Where do you think the future is as of right now in AI? Where are you making bets?
I think the best thing to kind of keep in mind is, I think AI is the most important technology that has come, sort of on the scene, over at least the last 50 years. I mean, people talk about it as, really comparing it to the Industrial Revolution. So as much as the internet was important, as much as, PCs are important, mobile phones are important, AI, and especially generative AI, has become the most important thing. And there's a good reason for that, frankly. The good reason for that is, if you think about it, ChatGPT came on board, 14 months ago, something like that. And it just captured everyone's imagination. Like, AI has always been around, but the ability to make AI so simple that you can just say, hey, I want to know what I should do in Austin, Texas this weekend, for example. Having that possibility only comes with a tremendous amount of computing power. So I do have some show and tell. Can I bring some show and tells?
I haven't seen this yet. So I'm excited.
So if you think about, I said chips were like the size of a dime or a quarter, but that was like 30 years ago. They're kind of a little bit bigger now. So what this is it's actually our latest generation generative AI chip. It's called the MI300, and it actually has 153 billion transistors. It has 12 little chiplets. You'll see they're little chiplets, and we actually stack them, side by side, sort of in a 2.5D, as well as on top of each other, to get the most power in one of these chips. And why is this important? When you think about ChatGPT and how it works, it actually works with thousands of these, or tens of thousands of these, in massive data centers that are there to really, both train, and then when you ask it a question, it needs to go back to these data centers to do that. So it just gives you a sense of the power of technology. And, I love stuff like this. Did you want to look at it?
If you don't mind.
Okay, all right,
I want to see. They don't trust me.
They're very valuable, so. But look, so the idea is you need big AI. So this is what I call infrastructure AI. But you actually, if you look over the next 10 years, you're going to see AI everywhere. You're going to see it in the biggest data centers in the world. You're going to see it at the edge. You're actually even going to see it in PCs, you know, maybe on something like what you're carrying there.
Yeah, for you all is AI PC. Who's heard of AI PC before? Have you heard that word? 2 people.
Well, they're just not admitting they've heard it. Yeah,
well, if you haven't heard it, you're going to be hearing it over and over again. And I want to spend some time here on why I think why this is important, because it is the evolution of PC in the PC game. So when I say AI PC, since there was only 2 people who raised their hand, what does that mean? What is AI PC first, and how fast is it coming?
Yeah, so absolutely. So AI PCs, you know, I talked about the data centers and going into this big iron infrastructure that sits somewhere in the cloud. But when you think about AI PCs, it's actually the idea that everybody in this room can have your own AI capability. And you know, I'm sure that you've noticed, you know, if there are lots of people on ChatGPT, when you ask it a question, it might actually take a while. And now if you're thinking about going from, you know, text to image or text to video, again, that's relying on a lot of stuff out there in the cloud. You know, the goal of AI PCs is to make sure that every one of us has our own AI capability. You don't have to go out into the cloud. You can actually operate on your own data. You can actually ask it questions. It'll answer for you. It'll answer it for you faster. It'll answer it for you in a private manner, because maybe you don't want your data going everywhere. And it's just the beginning of what I think is the ability to make all of us much, much more productive, whether you're just doing, you know, sort of your regular email, like you want to ask your, you know, when is the last time I saw Ryan Patel and what did we talk about? That's something that you can ask your AI PC, or you can actually ask it to create, you know, new things for you if you're a creator. So I actually have another little example. Maybe I can show that, Ryan, if that's all right. You know, this is an example of our latest Ryzen 8000. We call it our you know, Hawk Point system. And we thought we would have a little bit of fun with it because some of you may have heard of this thing called Stable Diffusion. What it does is it allows you to, you know, write something and say, you know, write something in text and it'll make it an image. We decided to have fun with Austin. So if you guys have seen Congress Avenue, you might have also heard that we have bats in Austin. And you might have also heard that, you know, tacos are good in Austin. So we decided to render an image. We asked it to render an image on an AI PC of a very cute bat having tacos in Austin. They're going to just run it one more time so you can just see how fast it is in terms of rendering. This is on a local PC, okay? You don't have to pay anybody anything to run this. And we were missing the salsa to begin with, so we asked it to add salsa.
Oh, my goodness.
At the end.
When I had tacos yesterday on South Congress, I didn't see the...
You didn't see the bats?
Fortunately.
You know, bat season is, it's probably in a few weeks, so you might want to come back. Think about, you know, AI PCs. You can go buy an AI PC today. Like, for example, we just rendered on a Hawk Point. You can buy these systems today. But more importantly, this technology is just going to get so much better. And it's not about just, you know, what we do. It's about what we do together with our partners, you know, to unlock this capability.
So we have a little bit more than half time to go, but I'm going to tell you, put questions and comments. I will read them. We're going to take some. Comments meaning if it's something...
We're partnering very deeply on AI PCs as well. We're spending a lot of time with some of our OEM partners like, you know, HP and Lenovo to really put together the entire ecosystem there. And then it's about the software partners as well. So our goal is to make this super easy for all of you guys to use. And, you know, that's the promise of AI PCs. But more importantly, that's the promise of, you know, AI, you know, going forward.
Hey, what are you doing AI internally, right? When we talk about this stuff, can you share a couple tips, things that you do that maybe others can kind of go and maybe take it back to their organization?
Yeah, absolutely. Well. Now, small correction. AMD is actually headquartered in Silicon Valley.
But you're based here.
It's headquartered in Silicon Valley, but we consider Austin the unofficial headquarters. I live in Austin. I love living in Austin.
That's what I meant.
So look, you know, one of the things about AI that I like to say is, you know, people are worried about, you know, AI is going to replace people's jobs and stuff like that. That's not the way I think about it. I think companies that learn how to leverage AI are going to win over companies that are not leveraging AI. So at AMD, we want to be at the bleeding edge. We're using AI through every aspect of our business. We're using it to design chips. We're using it to design faster chips, make them more reliable, build better software, make sure that we're able to, really it's a productivity tool. And my goal is, I'm telling my engineering team, I'd like to increase the number of products we can get out every year with the use of AI. We're using it, throughout our HR processes, our financial processes, our customer service processes. And again, this is a way of, let's call it, moving up the food chain, because we're allowing our team to get some of the, less fun things done by AI, so that we can really get, higher value added for our employees, and really have it be more fun. I think it's an AI strategy. I think the other thing to remember is it's not like it's perfect. Okay, AI is not perfect. It is. We're all learning along the way. I would say that I'm personally learning. So every day I'm learning new things about what the technology can do, and how do we need to shape our entire ecosystem and our work in our next generation products as well. So that's what makes it fun.
Well, you told me something when I saw you in September, that you're using it for your organizational, personal account. If you don't mind, share that.
So I'm absolutely using Copilot, and it's one of the things that we use when you think about very easy things to do. Summarize meetings, track action items. Make sure that it doesn't write my emails that well. I have to say, there are.
Is that why I got to respond? I'm kidding.
No, I don't use it for that.
Yeah.
But look, we're all experimenting with AI for sure. Yeah, so certainly for right now, people are trying to get product to market as fast as possible. I mean, that's the thing about AI. This industry is changing at a pace that I've never seen before in terms of just how fast things are going. And as a result, you want to be as productive as possible. There are various ways to do that. AMD's approach, our approach, is to have an open ecosystem. We are huge supporters of the open source. We believe that there's no one company who has the answer to everything. We actually have to collaborate. So things like PyTorch, that's an excellent example of how we can make machine learning and AI programmers much more efficient, because you can program at one level and you can use sort of any hardware systems out there. Things like Hugging Face that have a set of open source models as well. These are very important partners for us. OpenAI's Triton, JAX. These are all examples of a software ecosystem that is open, that's meant to really give people the power of, once you write software at some level, you can actually use in multiple hardware environments. Well, I spent a lot of time with the engineers, but frankly, we're living in a time where everyone's learning every day. So I've never learned so much as what I've learned over the last year in terms of where technology is going, and that does help. In our world, for our next generation hardware systems, we're actually making big bets, right? So the things that we're working on today, you're going to see, 3 or 4 years from now, and so we have to kind of decide, what's next. But that's our job.
What's next?
Well, I was going to say that's a secret, but no, it's not a secret.
No,
look, you're going to see AI everywhere. I mean, that's, we are constantly trying to make it faster, easier to use, more accessible. I'd like to see everybody have an AI PC. That's not going to happen this year, but there's this whole opportunity over, it'll start this year. Over the next couple of years, I think you'll see it throughout product portfolios. I'd like to see everyone have access to all the knowledge that you can get, from AI that comes from making our chips more capable, over time, and deeper partnerships. So that's right. I'm just about into my 10 years as CEO of AMD.
So you think about, and to be that long and to continue to push, that's why I called you a legend. I know you're so humble that she won't admit it to that degree, but there isn't people, there's levels to this, and she's got that. And so for me, I would love to hear some of and we're going to take some questions now, but leadership strategies. I want to dive into you as Lisasu, who's done this. There's only one. And I just hope that people can see what you've done, and I want them to hear kind of some of your insights and tips when you think about leadership strategy.
Yeah. Well, look, I have to be honest. I mean, being CEO of AMD was absolutely my dream job. So if you can say that you're doing your dream job, that is actually what I'm doing. And what I really enjoy about it is you get to really work on products that matter. And so when I first took over as CEO, like any company that doesn't have quite enough resources, we were probably doing too many things, and it was very important for us to decide what we were going to be good at.
Yeah.
And what we're good at is building the highest performing computing capability out there. So we're a high performance processing company. That's what we spend our time on. And it turns out that that was not a bad bet because, frankly, everyone needs high performance computing these days.
How would you describe, in one word, your leadership style?
I think I'm a doer. A doer. I like to do things.
I know you are. That's why. Most leaders wouldn't say that they're a doer.
Well, my view in this world is we get lucky enough. First of all, I'm so thankful for the team that I have. We have 25,000 people. They're fantastic. And my goal is to set very ambitious goals and then help the team get it done. So that's why I call myself a doer.
I love it. I know you are.
I love going into the labs. I love seeing what's the latest and greatest going on. And I love spending time with our customers and partners.
AMD is streaming this, live streaming for all their employees globally. If you had a message for them watching, hopefully it's okay, if you had a message for them right now, what would it be?
Well, first of all, I was walking out of my office at noon, and there was a thing of popcorn that was at the front door. And I walked out, and I said, "What's the popcorn for?" And they said, "It's for you," because they were all getting popcorn to watch this keynote. So, look. I am so blessed to have the team that we have, and as we say, we're only as good as our last product, so let's get the next one done.
Curious to understand how semiconductor technology intersects with energy use and our climate crisis. What topics in this space are a priority focus for you? That's a great question.
Yeah, Garrett, that's a great question. So it turns out that to build more powerful machines, more powerful compute, you actually use a ton of power. And we're actually at a place where there's an intersection of not just can we get more performance, but frankly, can we cool these systems? I mean, these systems are massive. They require a whole bunch of energy. Our goal in life is to build the most energy-efficient systems out there, and that is a huge focus for us. We have, pledges to reduce, sort of the amount of power that we take in our computing technology by, 30x over the next 5 years, and it's a big focus for us.
What percentage of AI interference do you anticipate will happen on the edge versus in the cloud? I think it's Stefan. Great.
Yeah. Look, I think, so just for the audience, when you think about inference is basically when you ask a question, you get a response. And a lot of that, almost all of that happens in the cloud today. And frankly, that's some of the latency that I talked about. It takes a few seconds for it to answer. I do think a significant percentage is going to happen at the edge, whether in clients or in places closer to your person. And it's just going to be a matter of you're going to see AI in all of these different places. We do think that inference will surpass training as we go through the next year or two. So that's where we see the AI trends going.
Right. Let me just see. What is Lisa's workout regime? We want to know.
That's a little personal.
Well, you got stuck with me. I told you I'm giving you what you want.
I would say that I maybe walked out a little bit slower today. I have a great person who comes to my house every day, or every few days anyways, and it's boxing and strength training.
How are you dealing with NVIDIA's dominance? Can AMD catch up? And I'm rooting for you. I'm not saying that. It says that right there. Philip, I see you. We can answer anything.
Well, look. What I would say is, AI is really the most important technology over the next 10 plus years. We're so early in the current cycle. I think you're going to find that there's no one size fits all. for tech. There's never a one-size-fits-all. We feel, we have a lot of respect for NVIDIA, a lot of respect. They've done tremendously in there from a roadmap standpoint. But we also have a lot of confidence in where we're going. I think, we actually launched our MI300 line back a few months ago, and we had tremendous support throughout the ecosystem. And you'll continue to see us with AI in every aspect of our products going forward.
Love it. So Megan's question is, I manage the AWS Global's demand plan for GPU products. One of our big bottlenecks is chip supply. Lisa, do you see ways to increase future supply and unblock this?
Absolutely. I can help you out, Megan, I promise. But
he's smiling, by the way, in the front. Big grin.
Yes, but look, in the chip industry, we do go through these cycles where demand is higher than supply. One thing I can say for sure is we're really good at ramping up supply. So you will see the supply for GPUs increase significantly every quarter going forward. And that's our job. Our job is to build capacity. There are factories being built all over the world to increase supply going forward. And it is true. I've now been with a number of research institutes and companies where they say that they're being bottlenecked because they don't have enough compute. And every time I hear that, I'm like, that's what I'm working on. I'm working on making sure that we have enough compute to really unlock all this creativity that's out there.
Dr. Lisa, I have a summer internship interview with AMD on Thursday to be an AI application developer. You're already, why is that funny yet? Let me finish. Can you recommend me? Did I put you on the spot? I didn't mean to do that.
No. Hey, look, we want the best and brightest at AMD. So all of you who want summer internships, we're always open for AI app developers, and my team will definitely be reaching out. So thank you.
What is one thing that you, in your career, that you think you've accomplished that you're most proud of? Wow, let's see. So probably the thing that I'm most proud of, and there's so many, sort of good, good products and great stories that I have to work on. But I'll tell you one, which was, I became CEO in 2014. In about 2015 or so, my CTO, Mark Papermaster, who's been my, partner all of these years, came to me and said, Lisa, I think we can compete to build the most powerful supercomputer in the world. And now you have to understand, we hadn't really, gotten our new Zen product line or our new EPYC processors out yet. And so that was a bold thing for Mark to say. He said, look, it's going to take us, at least 5 years, and we're going to work on it. And I said, sure, okay. Great. Let's. I'm not going to put it into the revenue plan just yet, but please work on it. I'm very happy to say that today's world's fastest supercomputer is sitting at Oak Ridge National Labs, and it's called Frontier, and it's powered by AMD, EPYC CPUs and GPUs, and one of my most fun things is to represent the company, and so for the opening of the supercomputing center, it's actually 1 exaflop of supercomputing. I got to go see the computer and sign our name on behalf of AMD. Cool. So that was a very proud moment for me. So that's a great story. AMD has a lot of influence, or has going to have more influence. Influence comes with responsibility. In your opinion, what is AMD's responsibility when it comes to AI?
Yeah, so for sure, I think all of us as large companies in the AI ecosystem have a responsibility. We actually have a responsible AI team at AMD. It's actually led by our president, Victor Peng. I think the idea is to make sure that as we bring out hardware, that it is in fact secure. As we work in the ecosystem, ensuring that when you think about the things about AI that we have to be careful about, it's how you train models, making sure that the data that you're using isn't biased in some way. It's not giving you, right now, I think there's all this conversation about, are the models giving you the right answer? I think what we want to do is we want to make sure that the models are giving you the best answer they can, and so we do have a responsibility in how we implement sort of the data that goes in and some of the models that are there, and how we use the data, making sure that we're very protective of people's privacy and intellectual property. So those are absolutely things that we take very seriously. But what I will say, though, is the answer of those who are a little bit worried about what AI will do, the answer is not go slower. Okay, that is definitely not the answer. The answer is to be very cognizant of some of the risks, and so we think about that. But this technology is so powerful and so transformational. We must go faster. We must experiment and just do it with a watchful eye.
Question. How is AMD pushing the limit of Moore's Law from a chip design and manufacturing standpoint? Maximilian, I know you know your stuff. That's a good question.
Yeah, so for everyone, Moore's Law is the idea that you can increase performance, reduce the cost of semiconductors every 2 years. It's really governed the industry for the last 30 or 40 years. It is slowing down, without a doubt. Moore's Law is slowing down. But one thing that I found super interesting in sort of the world of technology is engineers are super smart when you give them a problem. And so when you say that, hey, Moore's Law is slowing down, okay, that just means that you're not going to get everything from traditional device physics and scaling. What you have to do is come up with new things. And so, for example, we're stacking chips. Like I said, we're stacking chips side by side and on top of each other. We're putting much more, design capability and design software, design hardware, software interactions, and all of those are meant to extend, Moore's Law and extend sort of the performance curves that we have.
What does a weekend look like for you outside of work?
I like doing pretty much nothing.
This is why we get along. This is why we get along.
If that's okay. But actually, for those of you who are visiting Austin, my husband and I will often, go out on a Saturday night. There's some great restaurants in Austin, so hopefully you've gotten a chance to experience some of them.
You have a favorite cuisine?
Right now, it's Japanese.
Sentence, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
If you can give one piece of advice to Lisa in her 20s, who will be living in the AI era, what would it be? That sounds like a job. That's a job question, a career question, I think. So can you do that in a sentence?
I would say, and by the way, this is the advice I give to people. I would say, all education is about learning to think. It's about learning to problem solve. And whether that was 30 years ago, now, or 30 years from now, I think it's the same. I think, the technology changes over time, but if you can learn how to solve problems, you're going to do great things. Well, I think there are so many interesting things. Whether you have a hardware background or a software background or other areas. I think that the key is to have lots of different experiences. I think AI allows us to have a lot of different experiences, experiment. I actually like to tell people, learn from your failures. Like I've learned the most when I have completely screwed up. There were a few products that haven't gone so well that you haven't seen. We've learned a ton from them, and just keep learning. That's my best advice. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing what we're going to be able to do with AI. You heard David Connolly say that he has been able to create things that he hadn't expected with computing itself, but computing plus AI will take that to an entirely new level. So,
and you also mentioned, you're an engineer, and you've, there hasn't been too many people who transitioned to be a great leader. And she's so humble, she won't let me say kind words in the back, but I'll say kind words up here because she can't do anything, so I'm still here. You wanted this conversation when you asked me to be here, you wanted to give something back to the audience. You wanted it to be different. You wanted people to feel how technology and innovation is not just the future, but how we need to come together. So I give kudos to you and your team allowing me to roam around AMD's everything that I could get my hands on, the entertainment industry, which is really huge, that I think you all are changing the game, but also, again, I'll repeat this, Lisa and AMD, at least for me, the ecosystem that you built, that we're building together and staying ahead of the curve, is just inspiring, I think, for all of us, and just as entrepreneurs and folks in the room. So I appreciate Lisa. I can't thank you enough. People, Dr. Lisasu.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Hug your hand.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.